Welcome to my channel Most Worth Coins, WC. Today videos is one you won't to miss. We're diving into the world of coins, top 5 quarter dollar, so let's get it started. The 1965 United States quarter dollar holds a pivotal place in American numismatic history, marking the first year of a radical change in the composition of U.S. coinage. Until 1964, all U.S. quarters were composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, a standard that had existed for decades. However, due to rising silver prices and widespread coin hoarding in the early 1960s, the U.S. Treasury faced a severe coin shortage. People began hoarding silver coins as their intrinsic metal value approached or exceeded face value, making it uneconomical for the government to continue producing circulating coins with precious metals. In response, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from circulating dimes and quarters altogether. As a result, the 1965 quarter was the first clad coin in this denomination, ushering in a new era of modern coinage. From this point forward, the quarter was made from a clad composition, an inner core of pure copper, sandwiched between two outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy, 75% copper, 25% nickel, producing a coin with a total composition of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. The weight of the new clad quarter was slightly reduced to 5.67 grams, and its diameter remained at 24.3 millimeters with a reeded edge. Though visually similar to its silver predecessors, the new clad quarter had a duller gray appearance and lacked the bright luster and heavier feel of the silver version. Despite the massive change in metal composition, the design of the 1965 quarter remained unchanged, still featuring John Flanagan's iconic depiction of George Washington on the obverse front. Flanagan's design, in use since 1932, shows Washington facing left, modeled after a bust by the 18th-century French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon. The word liberty appears boldly above his head, "In God We Trust," to the left, and the date, 1965, centered at the bottom. The reverse back of the coin displays a heraldic eagle with its wings spread, clutching a bundle of arrows and flanked by olive branches, symbolizing both strength and peace. Surrounding the eagle are the United States of America and quarter dollar, with the motto E pluribus unum, out of many, one, just above the eagle's head. Notably, 1965 quarters bear no mint mark, regardless of which U.S. mint facility struck them. This was a deliberate decision by the Mint to discourage collectors from hoarding new coinage during the transitional period. To this day, 1965 is the only year of the Washington quarter in which no mint marks appear at all, a unique feature that makes the 1965 issue instantly recognizable to knowledgeable collectors. The mintage of the 1965 quarter was exceptionally high, as the U.S. Mint worked to alleviate the ongoing coin shortage. Approximately 1.8 billion quarters were produced in 1965 alone, far more than in any previous year, and struck across all three major mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. However, because no mint marks were used, it's impossible to know with certainty where a particular 1965 quarter was struck. These coins were also minted well into 1966, with the 1965 date still applied, a practice known as date freezing, to prevent collectors from trying to accumulate every date mint mark combination, which had exacerbated the coin shortage during the 1964 silver-to-clad transition. The result was an overabundance of 1965 dated quarters in circulation for years to come. This vast mintage and long production timeline mean that the 1965 quarter is extremely common in circulated condition and holds only face value unless it is in pristine condition or has an error. In terms of collectability, the 1965 quarter is not rare, but it is historically significant as the first clad quarter and the start of a new era in U.S. coinage. Most 1965 quarters encountered today are well worn, with dull surfaces and flattened details. However, mint state examples, particularly those graded MS65 or higher, are more desirable and may carry a modest premium. Quarters that have retained their original mint luster and show minimal contact marks are especially sought after by collectors completing high-grade registry sets. The best examples can be worth $15 to $50 or more, especially if certified by PCGS or NGC in grades of MS66, MS67, or better. Top population coins in MS68 can command significantly higher prices due to their scarcity at that quality level. Additionally, some coins exhibit attractive toning, such as rainbow or golden hues, which can also enhance collector interest and value. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1965 quarter is the possibility of mint errors and transitional pieces. During the chaotic period of switching from silver to clad coinage, a small number of 1965 dated quarters were accidentally struck on silver planchets left over from 1964. These off-metal transitional errors are very rare and highly valuable, often selling for thousands of dollars depending on condition. A genuine 1965 silver quarter will weigh approximately 6.25 grams compared to 5.67 grams for a standard clad coin. Sound, appearance, and even the coin's edge. A silver coin will have a uniformly white edge, while clad coins show a copper-colored core, can all help identify potential silver errors. Anyone who suspects they have a 1965 quarter that feels heavier or looks silver should weigh it on a sensitive scale or have it tested by a professional. Other valuable errors include double strikes, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and struck-through errors. These error coins are relatively scarce, but actively sought after by error collectors and can range in value from $50 to several $100, depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error. From a historical context, the 1965 quarter circulated during a turbulent time in American history. The nation was in the midst of the Vietnam War, the Civil Rights Movement, and the Great Society programs under President Lyndon B. Johnson, who was also instrumental in implementing the Coinage Act of 1965. It was a time of social change, economic challenges, and legislative innovation. The switch from silver to clad coinage mirrored broader economic adjustments occurring in the U.S. and abroad as nations moved away from precious metal standards to fiat currency systems. In this way, the 1965 quarter is not just a piece of money, it's a symbol of a changing nation and a new monetary era. Millions of Americans used the 1965 quarter daily to buy groceries, pay parking meters, or use payphones. For older generations, it evokes memories of a rapidly evolving post-war America, and for younger collectors, it offers a tangible connection to the past. In summary, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar is a milestone in U.S. numismatic history. It represents a fundamental shift from silver to base metals in coin production, brought about by economic necessity and strategic legislation. Although common in circulation, its historical value, the absence of a mint mark, and the chance of rare transitional errors give it enduring interest among collectors. Whether studied for its composition, historical importance, or potential errors, the 1965 quarter continues to play an important role in American coinage, both as a symbol of innovation and as an everyday artifact of 20th century life. The 1986 United States quarter dollar is a coin from the long-running Washington quarter series, a cornerstone of American coinage that began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the nation's first president. By 1986, this iconic design had been in use for over 5 decades, making it a familiar piece of American culture and everyday commerce. The obverse front of the coin features a left-facing profile of George Washington, a design based on a bust sculpted by Jean-Antoine Houdon in 1786 and adapted for coinage by John Flanagan. This portrait has been a constant on U.S. quarters for most of the 20th century and beyond, representing continuity and tradition. Above Washington's head appears the word liberty, a hallmark of American ideals. To the left of the neck is the national motto, "In God We Trust," and centered beneath the bust is the date 1986. The mint mark, indicating the mint where the coin was struck, is found to the right of the bow in Washington's hair and can be a D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or blank for Philadelphia. The reverse of the 1986 quarter continues the standard design used since 1932. A powerful image of a bald eagle with wings outstretched, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness for defense. Beneath the arrows are two crossed olive branches, symbolizing a desire for peace. Surrounding the eagle are the United States of America at the top and quarter dollar at the bottom, with E pluribus unum, out of many one, centered, just above the eagle's head. This design remained unchanged until 1999, giving the Washington quarter its distinctive and consistent look through the years. The 1986 quarter is part of the clad composition era, which began in 1965 when the U.S. Mint transitioned away from 90% silver in most circulating coinage due to rising metal costs and hoarding. Thus, the 1986 quarter is composed of copper-nickel clad, with an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. The total composition results in a coin that is 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, weighing 5.67 grams, and measuring 24.3 mt in diameter with a reeded edge. In terms of mintage, the 1986 quarter was produced in large numbers, reflecting the coin's continued heavy circulation. The Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, struck approximately 551 million quarters, while the Denver Mint, D, produced around 504 million. The San Francisco Mint, S, struck over 3 million proof coins, which were specially made for collectors and not intended for circulation. These proof coins feature exceptional detail, mirror-like backgrounds, and frosted devices, showcasing the best quality the U.S. Mint can offer. Many of these proof quarters were included in annual proof sets and sold directly to collectors. From a collector's perspective, the 1986 quarter is generally considered common in circulated condition due to its high mintage. Most examples found in pocket change or coin rolls will exhibit wear and be worth face value. However, coins in mint state, uncirculated condition, especially those graded MS-65 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC, are more desirable. The 1986 D quarter is particularly known for producing coins with sharp strikes and good luster, making it easier to find in higher grades. On the other hand, the 1986 P quarter from Philadelphia is sometimes noted for softer strikes, especially on the high points like Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Therefore, well-struck, uncirculated 1986 P quarters can attract more interest from collectors who value strike quality. As of today, prices for MS-65 examples range from $5 to $15 depending on demand, while superb gems, MS-67 and above, can command higher premiums, particularly if they have appealing toning or are certified as top population coins. A point of special interest for numismatists is the possibility of errors and varieties in the 1986 quarter. Though there are no major recognized varieties like double dies listed in standard references, collectors have reported minor die varieties and minting errors. These can include clipped planchets, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and struck-through debris. While minor errors are not typically valuable, dramatic or unusual ones, such as a quarter struck off-center by 10% or more, can sell for several times face value, sometimes even into the hundreds of dollars. An area worth investigating for advanced collectors is the presence of die deterioration doubling on some 1986 quarters, particularly from overused dies. Though this is generally considered machine doubling rather than a true collectible double die, it can be educational to distinguish the difference. Another aspect of 1986 quarters that can interest specialists is the study of die states and minting quality between the three mints. For example, examining how polishing techniques, die wear, and planche quality affected production during this year can lead to fascinating insights into U.S. mint practices of the mid-1980s. At this time, the mint was continuing to modernize its operations, introducing better quality control while balancing the need for high-volume production. In the broader context of American history, the 1986 quarter circulated during the second term of President Ronald Reagan, a period characterized by economic recovery, technological innovation, and geopolitical shifts, including the winding down of the Cold War. Coins like the 1986 quarter were the everyday companions of Americans during an era that saw the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster, the rise of personal computing, and expanding globalization. For collectors, today finding such coins can invoke nostalgia and serve as tangible reminders of a transformative decade. On the proof coin front, the 1986 Washington quarter stands out for its beauty and detail. These were made using specially prepared dies and planches, then struck multiple times to ensure perfect detail. Proof coins are graded on a separate scale and evaluated for deep cameo, DCAM contrast, where frosted devices stand out against mirror-like fields. A 1986 PR69 DCAM or PR70 DCAM can command collector interest, especially if part of a complete proof set. Prices for proof quarters from this year typically range from a few dollars up to $50 or more, depending on condition and certification. Although not composed of silver, the 1986 quarter is still a valuable coin for educational and collection purposes. It helps illustrate the evolution of U.S. coinage, the history of mint technology, and the balance between artistry and mass production. For new collectors, it's a perfect starting point for assembling a date and mint mark set. And for more advanced numismatists, it offers opportunities to study mint errors, die states, and quality variations. The fact that millions of these coins are still in circulation means it's possible to find ungraded examples and submit them for grading, potentially discovering a high-grade gem. In conclusion, the 1986 Washington quarter is a quintessential example of late 20th century American coinage. It carries forward the legacy of George Washington's image, the symbolism of national unity and strength, and the practical utility of a coin used by millions every day. While not rare, its enduring design, historical context, and occasional collectible features make it an important and accessible piece for collectors, historians, and those interested in the story told by the coins in our pockets. Whether found in a pocket, a bankroll, or a collector's album, the 1986 quarter offers a connection to a rich tradition in American numismatics. The 1984 United States quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington quarter series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin continued as the standard quarter design for the United States until the introduction of the 50-state quarters in 1999. By 1984, the Washington quarter was a well-established and widely circulated coin that played a significant role in American commerce and culture. The obverse of the 1984 quarter features a left-facing bust of George Washington based on a 1786 sculpted bust by French artist Jean-Antoine Houdon. This design was adapted by John Flanagan, a sculptor who won the competition held by the U.S. Treasury in the early 1930s. Washington's profile on the coin has remained one of the most enduring images in U.S. coinage. Surrounding the bust is the Liberty at the top, In God We Trust, to the left under the chin, and the year 1984 centered below the portrait. The mint mark, if present, appears to the right of Washington's ponytail ribbon, either a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or blank, indicating the Philadelphia Mint. The reverse of the 1984 quarter retains the classic Flanagan. Design introduced in 1932, a majestic heraldic eagle, wings outstretched, perched upon a bundle of arrows with 2 olive branches beneath. The eagle's symbolism reflects the United States' desire for peace, olive branches, while maintaining readiness for defense, arrows. Above the eagle is the phrase United States of America and a pluribus unum, out of many one, the yabai, latter being the traditional motto of the U.S. found on most coinage. The denomination quarter dollar is located at the bottom. This design continued unchanged until 1998, giving the Washington quarter a cohesive and consistent appearance over the decades. The 1984 quarter was struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Mintage numbers were significant. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 676 million quarters, the Denver Mint over 546 million, and the San Francisco Mint struck about 3.3 million proof coins. The San Francisco proof coins were made specifically for collectors and were not intended for general circulation. These proof coins were produced using highly polished dies and planchets to create coins with mirror-like fields and frosted devices, resulting in exceptional detail and visual appeal. In terms of metal composition, the 1984 quarter follows. The clad standard introduced in 1965 after the U.S. ceased producing quarters with 90% silver. The clad coins are made with an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a core of pure copper, yielding an overall composition of approximately 91.667% copper and 8.33% nickel. These coins weigh 5.67 grams, measure 24.3 millimeter in diameter, and have a reeded edge, with 119 reeds, which was traditionally used to prevent coin clipping and also gives the coin a distinct tactile feel. From a numismatic perspective, the 1984 Washington quarter is common in circulated condition, with millions surviving in pocket change, bank rolls, and hoards. However, collectors do pay attention to coins with higher grades, particularly those certified by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC. A 1984 quarter-graded MS-65 or higher, mint state uncirculated with minimal marks, from either the Philadelphia or Denver Mint may command a modest premium. Full strikes with strong details, particularly in the eagle's feathers or Washington's hair, are more desirable. The 1984 P quarter in particular is noted for occasionally having weak strikes, making sharply struck examples more collectible. An area of great interest for collectors and error specialists are varieties and minting errors. Although no widely recognized major varieties for the 1984 quarter have entered standard reference books like the Cherry Picker's Guide, numerous minor die varieties and errors exist. Some of the most sought after include double dies, where the design appears to be doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, and struck-through errors, where foreign materials interfere during the strike. A few 1984 quarters have been reported with doubled die obverses or reverses, but none are officially cataloged as major varieties by the leading coin grading services. Still, such errors can bring strong premiums among error coin collectors, especially if they are dramatic and easy to identify. Additionally, some 1984 quarters display over-polished dies, which can lead to missing details, such as a missing mint mark or faint features on the eagle's wings. While these are not always considered valuable errors, they can be of interest for specialists tracking die states and production anomalies from the era. For collectors interested in proof coins, the 1984 S Washington quarter, struck at the San Francisco Mint, is a beautiful example of craftsmanship. These coins were included in annual proof sets and feature sharp detail, mirror-like fields, and frosted devices. A perfect PR70 DCM, deep cameo example, can bring a higher price, particularly if certified by PCGS or NGC, though many are common in PR65 to PR68 range. These proof coins, while common, still make an excellent addition to any collection aiming for completeness or aesthetic quality. In the context of historical significance, the 1984 quarter was issued during a pivotal period in American history. President Ronald Reagan was serving his first term, and the U.S. was experiencing economic recovery, Cold War tensions, and cultural shifts. While not directly reflected on the coin itself, coins like the 1984 quarter serve as everyday witnesses to American life and can evoke memories of a specific time period for many collectors and citizens alike. It's a subtle reminder that numismatics isn't just about the metal, it's about the story behind each piece. In terms of market value, a circulated 1984 quarter typically holds only face value due to its high mintage and commonness. However, high-grade mint state coins, error coins, and certified proof examples can range in value from a few dollars to over $50 or more, depending on rarity, condition, and demand. As with any collectible, condition and authentication are key. Raw coins are less valuable unless they show something unusual. In conclusion, the 1984 Washington quarter is a staple of American coinage, rich in symbolism, utility, and historical relevance. While not rare or precious in metal content, it represents a living piece of American heritage, a workhorse coin that has passed through countless hands, vending machines, cash registers, and pockets. For both casual collectors and dedicated numismatists, the 1984 quarter offers opportunities for exploration, from pristine proof coins to unusual errors and subtle die varieties. Its enduring design, historical continuity, and sheer ubiquity ensure that it remains a vital part of American coin collecting well into the 21st century. The 1983 United States quarter dollar, part of the Washington quarter series, holds unique significance in the modern history of American coinage. First issued in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the design by John Flanagan was adopted permanently due to its popularity and remained unchanged through 1998. On the obverse, front, of the 1983 quarter, Washington faces left, a stoic and iconic portrayal inspired by Jean-Antoine Houdon's neoclassical bust of the president. Surrounding him are the Liberty at the top, the national motto, "In God We Trust," to the left below the chin, and the date 1983 centered at the bottom. Just to the right of the ribbon in Washington's hair, a mint mark, D or P, indicates where the coin was struck, either the Denver Mint, D, or the Philadelphia Mint, P, as no quarters were struck in San Francisco for circulation in 1983. On the reverse, the classic eagle design by Flanagan remains unchanged, a heraldic eagle with wings outstretched, clutching a bundle of arrows symbolizing defense, with olive branches below representing peace. The United States of America and quarter-eyed key dollar arch across the top and bottom respectively, while the motto E pluribus unum appears above the eagle. The quarter maintains standard specifications of the modern clad era, weighing 5.67 grams, measuring 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and composed of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, with a copper core sandwiched between copper-nickel layers and a reeded edge. The year 1983 stands out numismatically due to the unique economic conditions of the early 1980s. The United States was emerging from a deep recession, and the Mint had suspended the sale of mint sets in both 1982 and 1983, breaking a long-standing tradition. This means that no official uncirculated mint sets were issued for 1983, drastically limiting the number of high-quality coins available to collectors. As a result, finding 1983 quarters in true mint state condition is significantly more difficult than in other modern years. This makes the 1983 quarter, particularly those in MS-65 grade or higher, a key conditional rarity in the clad Washington quarter series. Most coins from 1983 entered immediate circulation and were heavily used, resulting in widespread wear and damage. The lack of mint sets forced collectors to pull coins from circulation or find rolls from banks, which were rarely pristine. This scarcity of high-grade examples has elevated the 1983 quarter's status and value, with prices for MS-65 examples ranging from $20 to $50 or more, and MS-67 or higher coins commanding hundreds of dollars, depending on eye appeal and grading. Certification. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 673,535,000 quarters with the P Mint mark, while the Denver Mint produced about 617,806,446 coins marked with a D. Combined, this results in over 1.29 billion 1983 quarters, making the coin extremely common in circulated condition. However, due to the absence of mint sets and proof sets for business strikes that year, uncirculated specimens, especially from original rolls or bags, are far less common than the mintage figures suggest. While the San Francisco Mint did produce proof coins in 1983, they were struck exclusively for proof sets and featured the S Mint mark. These proof quarters were struck on specially prepared dies and planchets, resulting in sharp detail and mirror-like surfaces. Proof 1983S quarters are common in PR69 Deep Cameo, DCM, and are relatively affordable, typically ranging from $3 to $10, while PR70 DCAM examples can fetch $50 or more, depending on grading service and market demand. The 1983 quarter is also notable for a famous and highly sought-after error, the 1983 P. Washington Quarter Spitting Eagle variety. This error features what looks like a line or trail of metal coming out of the eagle's beak on the reverse, resembling saliva or a spit. This anomaly is caused by a die break or die gouge, and though not officially recognized as a major variety by all grading services, it has become very popular among collectors. The Spitting Eagle quarter can sell for $30 to $100 or more, depending on condition and strength of the error. Other error coins from 1983, such as off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and double strikes, are also collected and can carry premiums depending on their visibility and severity. These minting mishaps contribute to the appeal of the 1983 quarter for collectors who specialize in errors or varieties. In terms of historical context, the 1983 quarter circulated during the presidency of Ronald Reagan in a time marked by economic recovery, tax reforms, and rising nationalism. Reagan's second year in office was shaped by efforts to reduce inflation, increase defense spending, and restore confidence in the U.S. economy. Inflation was dropping, the job market was stabilizing, and the country was beginning to shake off the economic malaise of the late 1970s and early 1980s. At the same time, tensions with the Soviet Union were still prominent during the Cold War. Against this backdrop, the quarter remained a vital part of everyday commerce, from payphones and vending machines to laundry mats and arcades. It represents a coin deeply embedded in the fabric of 1980s America, passing through countless hands during an era of transformation and technological change. The 1983 quarter thus becomes not just a tool for commerce, but a witness to a critical period in modern American history. In conclusion, the 1983 United States quarter dollar is a deceptively important coin in the modern Washington series. While billions were minted, the absence of official mint sets and the scarcity of high-grade examples elevate its significance in the eyes of serious collectors. The 1983 P and 1983 D quarters are essential for completing high-end clad quarter sets, and the year also offers fun and collectible varieties like the Spitting Eagle. Its design links it to a tradition dating back to 1932, and its story bridges the gap between historical coinage practices and the more modern collecting world, shaped by condition, certification, and specialized knowledge. Whether appreciated for its rarity and top grades, its historical placement, or its error varieties, the 1983 quarter stands out as one of the most intriguing coins of the late 20th century.